Welcome to this course. Me and Robin are super excited to have you here. And in this particular video, we are going to talk about the structure of branding. Basically, all the steps that we're going to go through inside of this course so you get a better overview of what you are going to learn inside of this course. Let's dive into it. And as help, we are having this iceberg, as you can see on the screen right now, to help us to demonstrate the structure of branding and the structure of this entire course. We're having two main subjects that we are going to go over in this course. The first one would be the lower layer, the thing that you're seeing beneath water. And that would be the internal branding. And then above sea level, we're having the external branding. We're starting from the bottom to build a solid foundation for your brand strategy. And we will start off with the internal communication. Now, what is the internal communication? Internal communication is what you are talking with your colleagues about, or rather with your employees about. Such a things like your purpose. Why are you creating this brand? Why are you selling your products and services? The vision. What is the purpose? What is the goal with what you are doing? So, for example, where do you see your brand in 3 to 5 years? And such a things. That is your vision. Then we're having the mission. What are the steps that you are going to take in order to fill your vision? And then the values. What are your brand's values? And we're going to align all of these with your targeted audience so that people around the world loves your brand. Once we have created the internal communication strategy, we're going to move on with the brand positioning. And inside of brand positioning, you will learn such a things like your audience. If you don't know your audience, how can you then figure out your targeted audience? Your competitors. How can you figure out where to find your competitors? And then the main purpose with brand positioning. How can you stand out? We're going to find your differentiator. What makes your brand more attractive to your targeted audience than your competition? And once we have created this brand positioning strategy, we're going to move on with your brand personality. Just like you are having a personality and I am having a personality, we're going to create a personality for your brand so that your audience can connect to your brand, to understand what you are talking about, what you stand for, and all those good stuffs. So we're gonna first off create your brand personality with your different personal traits, and then we are going to create your brand voice. Basically how you are going to speak to your targeted audience, the best way to get liked. And then we're gonna move up above water level to brand message. How are you going to tell your brand story? And also, we're going to make sure that you're not talking about your brand, rather than you are communicating and connecting to your targeted audience with your brand story. It's more powerful if you're telling your brand story from the point of view of your customer than if you're telling it yourself. I'm going to teach you all of that good stuff. And then the brand name. If you already are having your brand name or you're having ideas around your brand name, is that even a good brand name? If you have no clues whatsoever what to name your brand, then we're going to figure that out in that lecture. And then we're going to move on with brand tagline. Just like Nike has done here, just do it. That is Nike's tagline. We're going to create a really good tagline for you and your brand as well. And then we're going to move up to brand design. So most people, when they are thinking about brands, they are thinking about the logo, right? So we're going to create just that. We're going to start off with your colors. How do you pick colors for your brand? What are the best colors to pick for your brand? And how many colors should you have for your brand? And then we're gonna move on to fonts, basically the style of your text. How many different styles should you have on your website, in your brand messaging, in your marketing strategy? Where should you put them? How should you use them basically? And then we're gonna move on to your logo. Where do I find a graphic designer? If you aren't a graphic designer yourself, where should you look for a graphic designer? What elements should you have in your logo? What type of logo should you be creating? All of that good stuff goes into the structure of your branding, which then becomes your brand strategy. So first off, we're gonna build an solid foundation with your internal communication, brand positioning, brand personality, brand message, and then brand design. Once you have this brand strategy, you can then go out and conquer the world with your brand. Let's move on to the next video.